Hello from Safonovo. This is a podcast Pigeon of Peace where we do discuss awesome skills of troubleshooters. Watch, listen, and check the description below for the details. Let's talk about homeopathy and let's start with the definition.
Homeopathy is a very ancient way how to cure people, how to fight with diseases, and the idea is very straight and forward. Everything could be cured, but something which is look familiar. I will give you an example. On some islands I have been, and there were an ancient forbiddenness, запрет.
Forbiddenness, yeah.
Forbidden. Do not eat chestnut, because chestnut inside is look much like a human brain, so you will be clever. And for example, if you have some problems with kidney, you should eat, like, I don't know how to say, red beans. If you have, for example, some problem with another body parts, you should find something which is look familiar. But for sure, there are a lot of people who will make it instead of you. There are several great surnames which are occur while we talk with homeopathy, but also there is another way how to use some cure methods. It's will touching to the Paracelsus. It was a very ancient doctor who was saying everything is in great doses would be poison, and everything in small doses would be cure.
Well, yeah, since you touched on the different dimensions, we looked at the one shape, but besides of the doses, maybe it's also could be, I don't know, like a period of time, or maybe frequency, or maybe, like smells or anything like that, that could be combined with the basic principle in order to make this efficient, or vice versa, like make it less effective, so that, like, for example, poison could become a cure.
Yes, it could be. I give you some examples. For example, there are several snakes which are not afraid to be bitten. Or, for example, there are several animals who are not afraid of poison snake. And it was like a rumor, or it was like an unofficial rule. If you was bitten by the poison snake, you should eat or this snake or some part of the animal who are not afraid of the poison of the snake. But for sure it is not true, and you will be dead. Okay, this is not directly not touching homeopathy, but anyway, it was a very strange rule several centuries ago. If you have very huge wounds on your hands or legs, you should find someone who was hanged by the neck and use his arm to heal your arm, or use his leg to heal your leg.
Well, yeah, it seems like sometimes there is like a superficial element in this. And when we speak about territory or geographical spreadness, how exactly those knowledges or skills, or maybe, like hints in order to what to take in which proportion and when and what it exactly should be like transferred? Or if you look at the, let's say, like a global map of the knowledge of the homeopathy, are there similarities or vice versa contradictions?
When we will go to the equator, it's okay to say equator?
Yes, equator.
You will find that those people have two different of something which could be applied, or very useful and handy, for example, special leaves, special grass, special fish, or parts of the animal, or vice versa, it would be something is very useful, very stupid. For example, you should go on some mountain and you should touch some stone at the exact time when something would happen with tide, wind, or maybe sun. When you go, for example, to Middle East, you will find that during Crusaders time, they were trying to discover the inside of the body, and they were allowed to cut dead people, prisoners, or who was executed, and they will well know what inside of our body. For example, Avicenna is a very famous doctor, and maybe one of the reasons, not because he was a very literate person and was reading a lot, but also he was allowed to open the bodies, corpses. But for example, if you will go to the medieval Europe, there was forbidden to open up bodies, and it was sometime made, but it was coffin stealers who would solve this to the scientific people, but it was not greeted by the law, and you will be very severe punished if you do this. For example, you will work in the prison, not as a prisoner, but you will work as a prisoner doctor, so you will not be paid and you will be out of the freedom. So if you are able to open the body, you will see what inside and how this liver, kidney, and all other parts look like when something happened to the body. For example, it was beaten, it was poisoned, it was dead by the age and something like this. So if you talk about Europe, it was a very wide spread of the homeopathy, because everything was made by conclusion in the brain, and a lot of superstitions and a lot of mistakes were made because people just were thinking without any proper knowledge.
And when we speak about modern days, are there like a tracks or like entire practices of homeopathy still exist? And whether there is like, again, you know, like I would try to put some sort of like a scientific justification on that, whether there is something that was really justified by the natural science, by the medicine, or it's actually was a coincidence that just like worked, like the mistake of the survived one.
You know, even today I was talking with my wife, and she was in our dentistry, and she was talking with me, and she was pronouncing something like this: do you remember I bought some part of homeopathy and you was laugh from me, but now I have myself better? And I was trying to explain, yes, but you are a doctor by the education, and you should understand that sometimes you will drink just pure water, cold or hot or room temperature, and you will feel yourself better. Sometimes you just will be on the sun for 30 seconds and you will feel yourself better. And there is, you know, there is a joke, like 10 years ago, I heard this. I have been to Miami, and I was asked to one person, are you flying to somewhere? And I was saying no. And this person was suddenly saying, you know, it's a very great joke, but very sadly, you are now in Miami. And ask him, but why said joke? Because if we were in another airport, I would ask you, are you flying to Miami? And there is an answer, not, I am not flying to Miami. I just spent 8 whole hours in the bed.
Well, yeah, I think it's actually funny enough. And well, since you spoke about a case related to, you know, like trying different things, because sometimes we or our friends might be in a different territories. And what I also observed, some of the tourists, they like to experience some sort of like exotic sensations, whether it's like a part of the religions or they firmly believe that certain things may heal. So whether are the cases when homeopathy or homeopathy-like kind of a practice could actually not really make you good, but worse, it could be damage, and how to recognize this and how to actually prevent you or your friends or family or even business partners to actually not to go to some doubtful places or people.
I have a very sad story right now. About like 3 or 4 months ago, it was a husband of a woman which I know, and he has a problem. His kidney rejected to produce in the body, and he was sent to a very expensive hospital, and he was replaced by his kidneys. But after maybe 2 months, his wife, woman which I know, also were put in the same hospital, and they were replacing the kidneys and liver, and also liver. And when we meet in this hospital, I ask them, it's very strange, you both were replaced kidneys, but you have different blood types, you have different age, you live in different regions, you live in different regime. Maybe you know what's happening. And I was thinking they will say something like, we were somewhere and we drink some alcohol which are not bought from the shop. But then at this point, a woman were crying a lot with huge, I don't know how to say, eye drops, I don't know how to say.
Tears.
With huge tears, almost wet. And she said to me, it was my fault. I like Gomez a lot, and all doctors were saying that we are lucky that we have you and some other friends which give us possibility to be top of the queue for body replacement, because in usual world we will die. I will never buy this drops. I will never buy this addition to the food, because doctors were very angry and were saying, you are adults, how you could believe to someone and you never read the instructions.
Well, yeah, sometimes we need to understand that the world is not like full of magic. And my last question will be how knowing about homeopathy could actually make this world a better place.
You know, sometimes I hear from people that they ask me to buy something. It was a case I was in Osterik. It's okay to say Osterik, Austria, Vienna.
Austria, yes.
Austria. I have been to Austria, and I was asked by a colleague of mine, Alexander Yatsenko, could you please buy me such a medicine? And I couldn't find it just in pharmacy. And then people from pharmacy were saying with some smile, you could go and buy there. And yes, it was smile, but I couldn't understand why. And I came to another shop. It was much fancier, that pharmacy. The price was high. The small bottle was very expensive. And I gave to my colleague this bottle, and he was so happy to have it. And then he was ill, and he was recovered, and he told me, oh, thank you, because of these pills I was recovered so well. But after he and his small daughter and his wife, they fall down, and they were laying in the bed for several weeks. And then he told me, okay, maybe it doesn't work. I don't know how to translate this in English, but it's a liver of some kind of very rare duck. But if you will see exact amount of this entity, you will find that it's so small. It's like 2 atomic parts for this small pill.
Oh yeah, people like to put the different stuff and different weird stuff in their bodies, and it's usually not for good. And we review the skill of homeopathy and how it could be helpful for you. Stay in peace.